the orgs that we have now? Like, why do we have two
Yes.
LA teams? I know there's a history from my understanding of LA.
LA Sports has.
I mean, it's a big market for sure.
It's a big market. Does this look like there's going to be a loss of branding, identity, and players for LAV? Oh, look. No players. No branding. This blue is probably incorrect, but it is a new color, and I think they were very sleeper throughout all of last year. It's a shame that maybe only currently 2 players are surviving.
Get the biggest elephant out of the room. Fuck what they did to their players and their staff. What they did and the excuse they used for it was that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I think that's the one avenue that you can kind of criticize. Business, it sucks. I don't want anybody to just get kicked out on the street because of COVID. That's terrible. Wouldn't wish that on anybody. It really comes down to the excuse that they're kind of floating around that oh, it was COVID, guys. Oh, darn, we just couldn't get you visas. Guess what? When you go and you sign these new players, you're probably going to have to get them visas to move somewhere. It just seems very likely. I don't know. It seems like a very, very coincidental or very just happenstance excuse to kind of throw out there. The messaging was horrible. I'm really tired of orgs doing kind of controversial things and not giving an actual explanation or some sort of message to their fans instead of just a text post. You got to do better than this. Again, this is a team that has done better in the past. So again, where's this disconnect?
They've done this for 3 years now. Just keep doing this over and over again. And there's a reason. You want to know something? I have a friend that's in Gladscord. 625 people joined when the Valiant did that.
Sure.
Oh my god. It's just you do your fans wrong after they've just been supporting you for a long time. And I mean, if you're a Valiant fan, was more power to you. More power for, sticking with the team. It's just, this is not right. They could have done it better.
Yeah, exactly. And again,
in the beginning when they could find teams to go to. Do it when there was no finalized rosters.
I do. Weirdly enough, I kind of have to defend slightly. I don't think the situation with COVID it's not something that's just solvable. I don't know that many franchises are super confident in the league right now because of, again, what's the main driving force of this league? It's home and away games. What can we not do right now? It's home and away games. So if the sale took longer than expected, that sucks. Again, I don't want to see coaches and players out on their ass. That's not what I'm saying. It's stupidly unfortunate. Again, the one thing that I think is just inarguable, cannot be forgiven is the messaging. How they handled this was just not right. The business deal, again, it's tough. It sucks. I don't like seeing just players out there. Hopefully we can get some new players in that deserve chances as well. There is a kind of a give and a take there, but the messaging, the handling of this situation has been just some of the worst for sure. And that's where it really needs a good slap on the wrist. They didn't do anything illegal, to be fair, at least not to my knowledge. But again, I won't say that I'm in the know or close to the situation. So again, who knows? But it doesn't seem illegality was in play. It really was just an incredibly poor messaging. So
it's just that's not you doing right by your players.
No,
doing right by the community, which isn't completely abandoned, but to try and salvage much of what's happened here, you're just following on Twitter. You're now just following for the dumpster fire, which happened with Vancouver, but the reception is so low for this kind of attempt to try to generate inverse hype, I think is what's going on here, as a result of trying to put very specific words to the mouth of the social media manager who has to just pass the mic to the
Yep.
person who's making the call. There's nothing that the social media.
But that's where I kind of wish the person making the calls would come out and say, like, look, this is our situation. This is what happened. This is the decision that we came to. You know, we hand it off. We wish nothing but love to our players. Our heart, you know, we didn't want to do this to them. I hope they find all the best, but this is just the reality of things. I think that would open up a lot of people's eyes to like what actually goes on. And we got was, haha, COVID guys. Oh, darn. Guess we don't have a team now.
Oh no, Blizzard
So
totally invited us to Asia. And oh no, I think there's perhaps a lot more going underneath. And that's the story that's just been completely obscured, where how are we supposed to know what to believe in if in the short term this is the kind of answers we get, the kind of response we get from packing 10, which just really deeply goes into just how much has been put into this game, how he has to move on. But the only way he can do so is through Valorant and coaching for another set of rules and stuff that he actually does carry over very easily. But to lose that and abandon it just at the drop of the hat, status is not easy to.
Nope.
I mean, I like that comment on the side. I said, I gotta ask how BJ sees affect your Korean players. This is a worldly way of saying sorry we fired everyone because lol.
Cause lol.
I've got to imagine.
I know this is gonna I feel bad for every player, but the one I feel bad for the most is Adam.
Yeah.
This was
Adam.
his only shot. His only shot. Like, even he didn't even get to. I mean, you know what's bad when XQC is talking about it.
You're right.
It's just
how do you wake this man up from playing competitive Overwatch and even talking about the conversation in a very unbiased way, with given the background that he has?
He literally ratioed the Valiant post. He ratioed it. You just okay. You know, let's not think about the negatives right now, because I think people dwell too much on the negatives.
Yeah,
this opens up opportunities for Chinese talent. This is going out on a limb. I think it is so possible. Please, for the love of God, if you're gonna cut everyone, please sign Dia.
I think that's really the only. I don't even think that's a PR salvage. I don't think you can salvage this, but at least that's a plus. And it's still not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. Again, probably one of the best, you know, if not the best player coming out of Chinese contenders. The kid needs a home, and you've made him a home. So bring on a beloved player and start from scratch, I guess, and try to forget about it. It's
going to be hard not.
You have to
it's nearly impossible.
So much has happened to this point, and my relationship with Valiant was that they were my team before Guangzhou, just because out of geography they seem to have it right. They had the right kind of community thoughts, and so that's kind of still with the team. The DNA is missing, and so we'll really feel it after regular season hits and we actually get a team. I hope they don't announce a roster the day that they play, because I did not find that very appealing to just discover Shredlock. I mean, then you got some actual contending talent. It's okay, I can get behind that. And then KSN, it's who is this? Such a big unknown from EU, playing on 200 ping. He was the first before Fielder. I'm pretty sure Blase is going to be on heavy ping with the London Spitfire. But if I understand the technology correct, what they're doing is now what they've seen in the Gauntlet. They've tested this out, and it works tremendously. I've never seen Australia play better and above Billy Gaming before. So they could eke out a win, not a map win. That's the first that they've ever done. But as good as it gets for them is success in the Gauntlet. The one Australian team that versus the 2-3 in Korea and the 2 in China. That tells me that the delayed ping, I can't recall the term, but I'm sure we can get into that when we see the games. It's not noticeable, but it's such a great way to be able to experience competitive Overwatch. if you're willing to give up a bit of that network latency to put everyone on the same page.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I would love. It would just be nice for the whole management, like whoever the higher up of the Valiant, are, and just come out and give us the truth. Tell us why you did what you did, and then maybe it opens people's eyes. Like, okay, what you did was still kind of scummy. The way you did it was like you didn't even like give players their own like little goodbye video. Like, it's just. I mean, did you guys see what McGravy said? And
Yeah, Gravy toasted him.
like he was wondering why, if he did something wrong. I think it was like, I was wondering if I did something wrong, but no, it's just you guys.
Much.
Great. I mean, Gravy's a real one. Gravy's never afraid to speak his mind on
It's true.
the situation. Sucks. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't like. It's hard to predict a roster at this point because I just thought like of the worst. I'm like, what if they just signed like a bunch of Western players? Like they signed like a mixed roster again. I would be furious. I would be.
I mean, again, the likely decision is probably like a mix between Korean and Chinese players. Probably not playing from like a central location. And I think there's at least a semi-competitive team that they can, cobble together. I still think that teams probably, again, without knowing what this team looks like in the future, as it stands right now, just from like the talent left on the shelf, I think you can cobble something together last minute and be okay. But this is
yeah.
You
better hope it goes well.
I mean, I
it
would be a
expect
miracle
it to go well at all. Yeah, you're asking for miracles when this is what you're working with. I
think this is like a
goal is to
rebrand season.
Make it
This
as
is a building
appealing
season.
to follow this brand as.
Yep.
If you're gonna be Valiant, at least become something that you've always wanted out of the situation. If you don't have the resources to do so, or if the ownership has now completely flipped the culture around, which is what people have already assumed is going to happen, then I only can expect things to be a very turbulent one for them. Might flip the roster, they might be able to redeem something or get a diamond in the rough. They end up selecting.